Peace, peace, peace. Peace, 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 peace. Sir, get a life. You can't even, you so, you're so quick to get whatever it is that you're trying to get out, wisdom and understanding, that you can't even type it. And this lecture is for you. Guys, when a person does not understand anything, right, they project fear. They project fear from the inside of themselves. When a person does not understand something, they're going to project their fears onto you. It it could be anything. You living in a world where you have free will to do anything, to access anything, to understand anything, to know anything, whatever. And you make it a point to yourself to keep yourself away from the information. We living in the information age. So you make your own conscious decision to stay away from information, regardless of what it is and how you deem or whatever. See, because personally, you really don't deem it good or bad or whatever. You was just told that. You know what I'm saying? You was told that as a child, and you took that and you ran with it. Surely enough, the things that you deem as evil, other individuals that utilize it or whatever, they probably still think that as well. If you were so sure about what you believe, then why you put me? Like, I put you on mute because this is not an argument. See, you say seek a relationship with Jesus Christ. What if Jesus Christ and the Satan, Lucifer, and all of them was the same being? You would want to argue, right? That's the thing. So now I'm going to block you now. Period. Point blank. I don't want you. I don't need you. You're not, what's that word? You're not wanted here. A person like that, all they're gonna say is Jesus, 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 bro. All you got to say is Jesus, 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 Jesus. Life ain't built off of one book, man. Period. Point blank. And this is not the topic at hand. This ain't the topic at hand. That's to weed you people out. You people come up here and get set up. That was a trap. That was a trap for y'all to come up here and talk about that. That was a trap. And when y'all done, we gonna go ahead on with the next part of the lecture. We talking about Carl Jung. That's the topic. Carl Jung deals with psychology, deals with the understanding of the mind, the subconscious mind, the conscious, the ego, the super ego, the ID, which is identification, obviously the self. We talking about the pure parts of the mind. We ain't talking about this, which to me it means duality. We're not talking about that. Nobody told me that. I had to go back and figure out the own understandings on myself. Nobody in the church told me this or none of that. You know what I'm saying? My mom didn't even know what this meant. You feel what I'm saying? When she first started seeing me with this. but she understood though. You know what I'm saying? And some people, parents or whatever, and all of that, don't have that or whatever. But that's not my problem. That's not the world we live in. If I was going around trying to push whatever it is I know, I'll be trying to push 1,000 different books on people. ID, ID is pronounced like did what? ID, I'm talking about two different letters, I and D. Now you got to go because you don't even know what I'm talking about. You feel me? Go and get out. Go and slide. You know what I'm talking about? And do your thing. Dude, you made another page? You made another page? There is no time. Let's do a little history lesson. What is Christ? Who is Jesus Christ? Who is Jesus Christ? Don't tell me about no Lord and Savior. Don't tell me about none of that. Tell me your personal relationship, please. Tell me your personal relationship. Nobody can never do that. They give what somebody else's personal relationship is with it, which is probably not even that. You steady making other pages? That's sad. That's sad. That's sad. Gnosticism, a collection of religious ideas and systems. In the late first century AD, Jewish and early Christian sects, these various groups emphasize personal spiritual knowledge or gnosis. Mm, above the proto-orthodox teachings and traditions and authorities of religious institutions, Gnostic cosmology generally presents a distinction between a supreme hidden God and a malevolent lesser divinity. So everybody that be talking about Christ and all this and the third, where this is where your teaching that you're talking about was birthed from. They speaking about a hidden being. What the later day sects of what you worship, what they tell you is evil, whatever. The Gnostics talk about a hidden being, and what they tell you to worship, the Gnostics told you that it was a malevolent, but it was a lesser divinity. It's actually the opposite. It's actually the opposite. But I'm gonna tell you this now. Y'all don't ever get tired, and you don't ever get tired. What do you think you're doing by doing this? Because like I said, as soon as you're done, we can keep on going. I already figured it out now. What's your relationship with Satan? I don't believe that, you know what I'm talking about, it's a red guy downstairs somewhere waiting on me. But if you old enough and you still believe that, then you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what to tell you. Y'all, Y'all just keep on going. I'm gonna keep on getting them up out of here. This malevolent lesser deity, sometimes associated with the God of Hebrew, is responsible for creating the material world. Consequently, Gnostics considered the material universe flawed or evil, and held the principal element of salvation to be direct knowledge of the hidden divinity. This is what the Gnostics say. You're not listening, so I ain't got time to be, I'm talking about going back. You feel me? We living in the information age, man. Straight up. If you can't get the information, then you slide. Point blank, period. You feel me? Point blank. We grown individuals that's just now realizing what we actually are and who we actually are. Ain't nobody got time to be going back and forth, arguing and doing this, that, and the third or whatever. Because what people really want to hear is, right, which to me is just a bunch of BS. What people really want to hear is, oh man, you great, you this, you that, you this, you that, you this, you that, or whatever. But none of that really means anything if you cannot figure it out on your own. If you can't figure it out on your own. Somebody said this was bad and been told somebody that this was bad or whatever. So you can't come up with your own understanding. You don't have to mess with it. You don't have to mess with anything, right? But ask yourself what I am dealing with, right? Is it original to me? Not to me because somebody told me this, but did I go inside of myself and I had a personal relationship with this? You don't got no personal relationship. Whatever it don't matter what you dealing with because somebody told you that. I'm not no God because another black person came and told me I was a God. I literally figured it out. I died and came back. I had an ego death. You can't debate with that. You can't debate with nobody with your experience. That'd be the thing. People be so ready to go back and forth and do all that. You can't do that with your experience. Because all you here for is to have an experience so it can shape you for your next life. The thing is, right, I got to get you out of here because you're what I call a non-believer. The same individual that'll tell you to find God or whatever, right? Because I know somebody that goes in the church. She doesn't anymore, but she went in the church. She used to have all the Holy Ghosts, speaking in tongues, all of that stuff or whatever. Right now she's way more spiritual now, way more aware. The spirits come to her and all types of stuff or whatever, right? But the church goes against her and went against her, and she was in that singing the choir, all that. She was there. The same individual that will tell you to find God will be the same individual that does not have a relationship with the God that they deem they have a relationship with. The same individual that will tell you to find God does not even believe in God. The same individual that will come to the spiritual people, because religion comes from spirituality, not the other way around. The spirituality is based upon the mythology that we have. Mythology is sacred study. Mythos means sacred. It don't mean fake. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite. I'm not nothing. I'm just me. And it's crazy that you people just keep coming up here saying crazy. You steady making new accounts. That's weird. That's weird. You think it's a game. You say, fine, Jesus, do all this. We still have time. It's hot outside. Solar flares. If you ain't got melanin, it's over with. It ain't no time left, man. You talking about you playing. Ain't no plan. If you ain't got this information, and information is not taken into the heart, not the mind, not intellectually, right? In the heart. If you're not making a subconscious impact on yourself, ain't nothing happening. When I say we living in the age of information, We live in an age where that's the age of Aquarius, not the age of Pisces where religion runs supreme. We're living where the information runs supreme, right? They call it, they call it the they call it no. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because your intuition supersedes that. That's exactly what I'm saying. Your intuition supersedes that. If you had a dream and you keep having these reoccurring dreams and something is trying to give you a message or whatever, right? Rationally, you would just be like, it was just a dream. That's what your intellect could tell you. Hold on. Gotta get you going. Gotta get you going. What is that? Yeah, man. You gotta go inside yourself. You wanna align yourself with the signs and symbols of your mind. All of these spirits, these concepts, these gods, these goddesses, whatever the term you want to use or whatever, are in actuality archetypes. And if we ever get a chance to get around to it, that's what we're going to get around to. But they're archetypes, and all these archetypes are hidden inside of your subconscious mind. An archetype is literally a primordial blueprint to all of this, all of these different terms and meanings or whatever, and gives you access to it, the pure essence of it all. Does the flag on your wall symbolize the Lord self? No, it symbolizes both masculine and feminine aspects of the male and the female. I can't tell you what a Satanist says. I mean, I can, but I'm not a Satanist. I don't really join that. I can tell you what I feel like they saying when I know when I looked into it, but I can't tell you what a person that says, "Hey, I'm a Satanist and this is what I am and I'm worshiping or whatever." I don't know if they actually worship the devil for real. I can't say that. That's not what I'm doing. I tell you, you shouldn't worship nothing but yourself. All of what we deal with and what we deem as religion or mystery system, whatever it all comes outside of us. If that's the case, you can deal with the purest part of it all. Form your own system that works for you from within to shape your own reality and a new being within yourself. Ultimately, it will pour out and seep out and project outward. You feel what I'm talking about? That's what I'm getting at. I ain't telling the person to stop dealing with what you're dealing with, but look deep in between the lines of what it's actually saying. Don't just take it face value, whatever, like what somebody's telling you, or what a book is telling you, for that matter. Because really, you really just studying and stuff. You only resonate with what you resonate with because of what's going on inside of you. That's it. Elohim is a word for gods that means plural. That is an ancient word, but it means gods. It's a plural term, and that's fine. That could be your favorite god or whatever. I have none. I don't really too much get attached because all it is energies, and that's what I'm trying to break down. See how it's starting to calm down now? I put that there for a reason. I mean, to be honest, Google, books, all of that. It's really about how you feel for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? It's really about how you feel. So, like the 360 Alchemist, he always say like If the man thinketh, then it becomes. So you can be thinking and assuming something like, man, I feel like this, or I have this disposition within this type of information or whatever, right? And then you find a book or anything, somebody say something that was resonating with what you was thinking or whatever. Then you write the book or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? This is how this comes about. Peace, peace, peace. But really though, you know what I'm talking about? We don't want to focus on who's actually lying and stuff like that, as far as, ooh, that's a liar and ooh. We just want to take what works for us. That's all we trying to do, for real, for real. And if people can really get that understanding, you know what I'm talking about, things would be a lot better. You can sit there and believe in God if you wanted to. That's fine. That's dandy. I know people that really pray, you know what I'm talking about, and shit gets done. But I know people that get up here and talk about that, and they probably pray, they probably don't, and don't nothing get done. I definitely have, yes, the Baphomet. The Christians don't eat, the Christians said that the Christians be like, hey, sit there and pray, get on your knees and pray. But they not even praying how Jesus was praying in the Bible. Jesus was praying like a Muslim in the Bible. Facts. Posture down, face down, touching the ground. Forehead on the ground. Same way is depicted on the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Further proving that this comes from Gnosticism, which Gnosticism is Coptic Egyptian. It's they talking about something hidden, something inside of you, man. A light that's inside of you. We're not talking about no material world or whatever. They didn't been tricked into worshiping something else, basically. The material world. I'm not even gonna say God. I'm just saying the material world. I don't care what a person believes. If you come to me, be like, oh yeah, I believe in God and Jesus is this, that, and third. You don't even believe that. You worship money. Government ordinance department. The government. That's the God that you worship. You don't even know what Yahweh is. The oldest name is not Yahweh. The oldest name is Yaldabaoth. That's the Gnostic name. That means come here, child. The God that you worship, the Hebrew God that you worship, is a dragon being. Let's get it. Jacob, Yakub, Yap. Same thing. Yaldabaoth, Yakub, it all come from the same thing. That's cool. You need help. Let me see who you is. That's your creator. Yaldabaoth created you. Yeah. It's funny how an individual can grow up and be told something their entire life. I don't care because nobody else believed it. Told something their entire life. You haven't seen nothing happen because you gotta witness it firsthand. You don't know what a person is going through, right? Unless you've been through it. Because people don't got empathy anymore. You're supposed to have that. So you going off, you study, and even if you did, people got that conflict. They don't even listen to that. They just go with the flow. So I just said this right here. I just said the Christian, the Christian God, right, was once looked at as actually an evil entity. Yes, this entity that everybody think right now says created the world. This is what the old Christians said, which were called Gnostics, right? Why do I keep saying that? Because we had Gnostic Islamic people, we had Gnostic Jew people, we had everything, but the Christian text is heavy, heavy, heavy on Gnosticism. The whole outline of it is Gnosticism. You feel me? And the God that they talk about that created the world was called Yahweh. Later on, Yahweh Jehovah. Jacob or Yakub. You feel me? They don't worship that being. They were talking about a light that was inside of you. What's the difference with now? The difference with now, somebody told you that was evil. Somebody told you to go against your actual nature, so then you can still be placed down here. In Christianity, you got angels. In Gnosticism, you have archons. Angel literally means an angle of light. That was the first term when the angel actually came out. The angel actually came out because the actual term for it is daemon, which is a hidden genius. They're malevolent, they're benevolent, they're all. They just is. But you call upon these different mentalities in the mind to bring upon better realities in your life. This is what was going on, man. This is what they utilized. And somewhere down the line, within the priesthood or whatever, they used it to control and manipulate. That ain't that hard to figure out, man. It ain't that hard to figure out. I saw somebody said something about Carl Jung. Oh, so subconscious Carl Jung school of thought. Yes. I don't know if you're still in here, but that's definitely what I'm trying to get to. I put this up here. I put the Baphomet up here because I understand projection. Okay, I understand projection, and to break projection down, and my understanding. So it's basically just personal. It's an understanding, but it's personal. Okay, so from my personal point of view, if I seen a Christian or somebody that was not in the understanding of occult thought, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a difference from what I be talking about. I'm a spiritual individual, yes. Conscious, yes. I am not woke, no. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm for the cause for my people. It's a difference because I feel like woke is something completely different. We can get into that later, but I'm conscious. I'm an occultist. You feel what I'm talking about? And I'm spiritual. That's it. That's all. You get what I'm talking about? So if I witness somebody, right, that I deem wasn't really, and mind you, that doesn't my opinion really doesn't even matter to that individual. What I'm getting at is it's all about how you feel. So if you feel like an individual is not resonating on your level or just into what you into or whatever, you feel what I'm talking about? I don't project my information onto them on my understanding onto them. If I did, that would be a form of projection. So I see a person wearing every person that I see wear a cross. You feel what I'm talking about? I don't say, oh, that cross is fake. That cross is later date. None of that, all of that. No, because while we do have the unk, and nobody understand where the unk comes from, the unk, this right here, the unk comes from the what do you call that? The Coriolis on the sun. Coronal loops, coronal mass ejections. So basically, the solar flares. If you look up the solar flares and like coronal mass ejections and look up a unk or whatever, it's the same exact thing. So just understand what's going on with the sun. It's really more cosmic, right? And then we have, because we everybody talk about Jesus Christ, but we forget that this figure comes from Horus Christ. And in later day, we have what do you call that? El Cristo Negro. You feel what I'm talking about? The Black Christ, basically. Paulo Mayambe and all of that. People forget about all of that. And when we talk about that, the cross that exists there in that mythology is a cosmic cross. And this cosmic cross is dealing with the heart chakra. So I don't never really be going against anything. It's all about the understanding. Nobody never really has an understanding for real. Because everybody just want to say Bible, 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 Bible. But if you look at it esoterically, it's what it means. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Because that's what the Gnostics were talking about. The only reason the concept of a heaven and a hell exists and all these other astral planes or whatever is because this material world What the Gnostics understood in the creation and the making of this material universe, they understood that we couldn't be here, we shouldn't be here. So, but it takes time. Now we in a time of getting this information. So they understood that until that time, we're gonna set up shop somewhere else. This is why we have those spiritual places, which only spiritual, astral, and mental is the same thing, because we dealing with the mind. You experiencing quote unquote all of this in the physical with your mind, basically. The reason why I say that is because you can go inside of your mind, you can close your eyes, and you can have another experience outside of this experience right now, and have way more better experiences. But I'm saying you can experience with all five senses, plus more. So we just know that we still having this with our mind, basically. Especially if we understand physics and the quantum realities or whatever, right? But like I said, deep within mythology, we got to understand that a lot of these realms or whatever, these realms, they already existed. As far as in the Black Science book, what I was reading the other day, Black Root Science or whatever, they talk about how the ancestors, I say we because we all connected. We existed in another universe before this universe was created. But that universe still exists inside of us. You know what I'm talking about? It was a whole lot of science. It was a whole lot of science on that. This is why we're able to still experience those things. And really, if you want to understand that, understand the chakras, what our emotions, the energies, emotions, or whatever. Because that's all those realms really was in this primordial existence that we were in. Just emotions. Everything was just moving around. And it was in balance as well. But somewhere down the line, something happened. But they talk about that in Gnosticism. You feel me? And this is why I always go back to. They talk about it in the Egyptian myths too. They talk about it in everything. But they really break it down in Gnosticism. Because when you look at everything else, they got the hieroglyphics, they got the runes, they got the metal nutter, they got all of those different quote unquote, which it is advanced. They got those different advanced writings or whatever. Coptic Egyptians is basically what we understand now. So that's why I go back to it, because it's what we can understand with the brain that we have right now, what we're working with, the capacity of the brain that we're working with. So the only reason I put this up here is because I know that people are going to come up and they're going to project their fears, like I was saying earlier. And we just had a whole, however, them coming through doing what they was doing. But that's okay. That's okay, because it was expected. Excuse me. Um, Carl Jung is a psychologist. Talks a lot about the mind, and that's so you pretty much already familiar with him because we were just really going in on that shit. So individuation, I think I was saying it wrong the other day. I was saying individualization. It's individuation. The goal of the Jungian psychology, right? Jung believed that we were born inwardly whole and we have a specific nature and calling that is uniquely our own. But that most of us have lost touch with the important parts of ourselves. As a result, we feel that our lives lack meaning or that we are not living authentically, right? We experience a vague disconnect and discontent and disenchantment, a feeling that there must be more, to life. Through listening to communications from our dreams and imagination, um, we can make contact and reintegrate with these different parts of ourselves, right? This striving towards wholeness, towards finding our true personality, is what Jung called individuation. I personally, me personally, right? Because it always like I look at it differently, which I agree with this, but I look at it differently. But my understanding of that, because everybody is trying to get back to we want to get to a community and all that, and I feel like that's what we should be. But you have to have something to bring to the table, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you got to be that individual. And when they're talking about the individual, and be that singular being or whatever, I feel like it goes really so far back into your DNA. You know, as a human being or whatever, right? Living on this planet Earth, they say we are a eukaryotic cell, mixed up of prokaryotic cells. And a eukaryotic cell is just basically, for example, just look at the physical aspect of life. So everything as a multicellular being has or is a eukaryotic being or a cell. And everything that's a singular cell would be like a prokaryotic cell. And those things come from the sun. Those type of cells come from the sun. So light. So the highest vibration of us. You know what I'm saying? When we get the photons or whatever, it's not physical no more. You know what I'm talking about? But you really can't see it, but you can see it on a quantum scale. So basically, the bacteria on you, which your aura, your electromagnetic light around you, that's bacteria on a quantum scale, but it's light though, right? So all of us as eukaryotic beings, whatever, we supposed to have like a nucleus inside of us or whatever, right? It holds all of our DNA and yada yada yada. So on the inside of, because all a nucleus does is it organizes everything. So watch this. The organization is synonymous with the creation, so with the light, right? And we have chaos, so it's disorder or whatever. So inside of a prokaryotic cell, you have a nucleoid. So it's really chaotic, but it's just right there. All the DNA is right there, just clumped up together. Everything is chaotic or whatever. And that's synonymous with the dark side, the hidden light. Not nothing evil, but the hidden light, the hidden aspect of the reality. You feel what I'm talking about? Which in fact is an unpolarized state of matter, meaning it is like it's not it is feminine because it's infinitely recessive, and recessive is the negative aspect, which is the feminine aspect, but it is the unpolarized state. So it has no polarization in it. It just is, and it's just supreme, and everything comes out of this state. And everywhere in every mythology and every religion, every system or whatever that you get into or whatever, this is what they're talking about. They're not talking about individualization or individuation, but they're talking about getting back to that primal state of being, though. That's why I'm trying to get people. They say that in your Bible. They say that in the Quran. They say that everywhere. When they talking about a revelation or an apocalypse or Ragnarok, you know what I'm talking about? The end of the world. Apocalypse or apoctes goes back to revelation, which means to reveal, right? And what are we revealing in this information age? If we know that the new word for it is the age of Aquarius, the age of information, the Hindus call it the Kali Siyata, the golden age. That's us. The ones that's into this information and the ones that spread this information. That's us. We're living in it right now. Yes, it's an apocalypse. Yes, it's a golden age. It's an apocalypse because that that narrative that society tries to push over you that, oh man, the government they finna take over the world or whatever. There's gonna be a new world order. We already been living in a new world order because it says it on the back of the dollar, and we've been seeing that subconsciously our entire lives. So now coming into the understanding of who you are, right? The distractions in reality won't distract you from what's really going on for real, for real. You will really see the flaws in life. You know what I'm talking about? So seeing all these flaws, you like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna sit back. I ain't gonna get involved with this, or I may get involved with this. I might do this, but ultimately, you building a better reality, like outside and inside for yourself. You know what I'm talking about? And remember, our subconscious mind really shapes the reality around us. It's just that it's 8 billion people on the planet, right? 8 billion people on the planet. The planet is definitely overpopulated. What does that mean? That means all of us naturally would just infringe on each other, on all the resources, on the planet, on the animals. You feel what I'm talking about? We're gonna do that. So when I was reading that book the other day with y'all, the Black Root Science, they said that in the beginning, we know how we always talk about 144 ancestors, whatever, that's supposed to have seeded the planet or whatever. Well, when they seeded the planet and did what they supposed to have did or whatever, You got to the divine number. The divine number was supposed to be 8 billion, 1 million, something like that. Not 8 billion, 1 billion, 8 million. 1 billion, 8 million. That's what it was. And they said that that's supposed to be our natural divine population for us to not be like this. You know what I'm talking about? And they talk about that having that one mind, the God mind, and all of this stuff. You feel what I'm talking about? This is how we was. Everyone spread out, all one mind. We communicate. Ain't no phones, ain't no none of that. You know what I'm talking about? But if you look at it, you got phones, you got the internet, you got a lot of stuff that mimics what you do naturally. And this is where we fall short. This is why an individual will say, no, man, it's a God out there already. You know what I'm talking about? They will argue you down that it's another God out there, and you shouldn't seek something inside of yourself because it's a demon. What? How? We haven't seen nothing yet. Nothing and nobody has never came. You know what I'm saying? And they try to get rid of every single one of us that spread the information because they really don't know if one of us will be that one person, what they call the Messiah. But guess what? It ain't gonna be no one person. All first and foremost, right? The Christ idea, right? Because Jesus is a later day term. The Christ idea, right, was placed upon Horus, the bright face, which the Christians will later day make him synonymous with the devil anyways. But then they already had a quote unquote devil being, which was set back in that day. But it was Horus Christ. Actually, KRS, KRST. So this was and it still meant anointing and all that stuff, whatever. This is why they gave it to Horus. You know what I'm talking about? And everybody in that land or wherever was striving to become that. They wasn't worshiping that. They were striving to become that. What we call invocation, evocation. Yeah, it was calling upon this energy inside of themselves, trying to raise that type of energy up inside of themselves because they lived the life of Horus. They can live a life of Osiris in the afterworld. I mean, in the afterlife or whatever. Which Osiris is supposed to be the subconscious mind, also the father of Horus. So you get it? But there was no God though. So they wasn't saying I'm gonna go and beat, you know what I'm saying? See, in the Christian Bible or whatever, God is not the God of the dead, he's the God of the living. Osiris is the God of the dead. They tell you to do everything good or whatever so that when it's the time for you to go or whatever, you know what I'm saying, God gonna do all this. But how is God gonna be able to do all that if God is not the God of the living? Unless God is not the God of the dead. They play on the words for real. But you supposed to find your own understanding. Don't just take what I say. The stuff is all there for people to read. Because I ain't just writing this and making it up. I can read it just like anybody else can. The thing is, right, certain people don't want to share the information with you for reasons why I have no clue. And other people, they don't want to share the information with you. I know because they don't want it to be out. And that could be anybody. It don't even matter. For real. Individuation is the process of coming to know, giving expression to, and harmonizing the various components of our psyche. You know what I'm saying? Once we realize our uniqueness, we can undertake the process of individuation and tap into our true and authentic self. The journey towards individuation begins by making conscious the major archetypes of the psyche, as identified by Jung. This lexicon sets out to describe these major archetypes since we focus on teaching Jung psychology as a practical and accessible and real tool for personal transformation. The next one, right, we're going to talk, it's talking about the imagination. Now, before we get into this, I always tell y'all, and it's going to say the same thing, but I always said this before we got to read this book. Your imagination is powerful. When I was just talking about going inside of yourself and being able to do this and experience this, do all that, you use your imagination to do all that. If you can close your eyes and have completely separate experience outside of this one. What does that say about your mind, man? Period. Before we I'm gonna get into it. Hold on. These exercises are done in the realm of the imagination or the imaginal realm. It says the realm of the imagination is the central is central to psychoanalysis and the Jungian psychology in particular. It is through the faculty of the imagination that we can access unconscious contents, attitudes, ideologies, and orientations that are typically hidden from our conscious. It says beyond the obvious psychoanalytic value, the direct imagination is the road to creativity. We must differentiate between directed or primary imagination, where and mere fantasy, right? Basically, they saying like it's a difference from like what I'm saying, like daydreaming is cool because like when you're active daydreamer, what I'm saying, some people just daydream or whatever. When you actively daydreaming or whatever, like it's those people that could just like when you're in jail, or some people that so when you're in jail or when you're in school, because it only matters in those places like that. When you just sitting there and you're bored or whatever, you close your eyes and you can just imagine something right away or whatever. Those are active daydreamers or whatever, right? People like that or whatever. But then you can sit there and it's still active, but you can directly direct your energy and your emotions to create something like that that's new, like a generate a whole new image, a whole new experience, basically. So that's what I'm saying, basically what they said. Um, the power to imagine things that are not that have not actually been experienced has, on the other hand, commonly been regarded as the key or as a key aspect of creative and intelligent thought. It says, on the other hand, this power of imagination has equally commonly been regarded as rather passive and a mechanical capacity to arrange and order the images of thought arising out of the memory. So they trying to sweep it under the rug when they tell you that. You know what I'm talking about? Remember I just said what imagination was and all that stuff or whatever. It just said it was the aspect of creative and intelligent thought or whatever. But they said now, like later date, they're trying to say that it's just you got a good memory and you can remember stuff at a good age, like pictures and all that stuff or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? They overlook the aspect of I can really go back and have a real lucid memory. You know what I'm talking about? And be inside of there or whatever. That's if you think about it, right? It's kind of sort of time travel. See, Einstein said you could time travel, but the physical body wouldn't be able to what's that word? What is that word? It wouldn't be able to survive because of how fast it would be moving, right? But you would have to be moving as fast as light. Your mind moves faster than light, 24 billion miles per second. So the mental is the thing. Let's see. There was a wide distinction between the different forms of imagination. It said Coloride named the extreme primary imagination. No, name one extreme primary imagination, and and the other one called fancy, from the word fantasy, basically. They say although aspects of imagination are important in depth psychology, directed, primary, associative, revere, or fantasy, um, we concern ourselves here with the directed, or in other terms, active imagination. So we ain't just trying to sit here and just let our minds run rampantly. You know what I'm talking about? We trying to actively put something together. It don't matter if you just every single day you just think of something new, think of yourself doing something else, something. You know what I'm saying? Because what that's doing ultimately is you exercising your brain, you exercising your mind. And why everybody be trying to, oh man, you talking about this, you talking about that, whatever they feel like I worship. Now I don't worship nothing. And whatever they feel like is gonna happen afterwards, whatever, you gotta be able to know how to maneuver that body of yours. See, some people, right? This the thing. You ever seen them movies and they be like, what with the mediums, and they be like, man, they channel they call them ghosts, but they actually spirits. And so they channeling the spirits, whatever, and the spirits be like, it's cold here or whatever, and it's dark and I don't see nothing. That'd be real. Some people really didn't believe nothing. And what I mean by that is they went their life saying like, oh yeah, I believe this, I worship this or whatever. And they probably was a good person, but in their hearts, they didn't believe it. So it don't matter what you say you get into. You know what I'm saying? People think, people think I'm whatever I am. But it's not about what you think I am. It's about what I know I am. You know what I'm talking about? And vice versa with yourself. That's the thing. So when they be like, oh yeah, Jesus coming and all that stuff or whatever, let's just say it was coming. This entity and this energy was coming. Who's to say, who's to say that it's not that it wouldn't lean more towards what we doing right now, the spiritual individual. Who's to say that it wouldn't have to deal with that? You know what I'm talking about? Because when we deal with spirituality, we're dealing with natural occurrences as well, natural and unnatural phenomena. You know what I'm talking about? Nature, earthquakes, wildfires. You feel what I'm talking about? The animals going crazy right now. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Unnatural occurrences. You seeing stuff that you don't even like. You can't even explain for real, for real. But you would have to be in tune with self and in tune with the planet or whatever you want to call it. You feel what I'm talking about? To understand what's really going on for real, for real. Who's to say? Because when I was a kid, I was told that if I dealt with anything like this or anything I talked out like this, whatever, I'd be struck. I ain't been struck yet. You know what I'm saying? That's even paid to even think about. Next, right, we're gonna talk about these archetypes. Where my water at? Archetypes are primordial images and symbols found in the collective unconscious, right? Each archetype has a unique set of meanings, impulses, and character traits. For example, the archetype images of the hero, the child, or the mother. Um, it says Jung's archetypes include, but are not limited to, human characteristics, animal archetypes such as serpents and lions, as well as other objects which function as archetypes like gold, the castle, or the forest. So things like that. Nature is an archetype as well. You feel what I'm saying? You feel me? I told y'all. So all of this already exists inside of us. Everything, man. And then look, right? Look, gold, right? The alchemists looked at gold as like the highest, purest element, at least on our planet, right? You feel what I'm talking about? But it's not. We worth more. A gram of this is worth like $1,000. You feel what I'm talking about? Way more. Probably not, but for sure, it's worth like trillions. You feel what I'm saying? This is why they can. This is why they can do what they can do, right? So that's what that symbolizes inside of you. But you still got gold inside of you too. You got everything inside of you. That's why you need minerals. Body need 102 minerals. You still need more. But I'm saying you gotta put in what the body has and needs. You know what I'm talking about? This is why. Archetypes are inherited, inborn potentials. They are patterns of thought and emotions which provide us with a set of tools, skills, capabilities, lessons, opportunities, and potential for this lifetime. They form the foundation upon which each individual builds his own experience of life, coloring them with his unique culture, personality, and life events. This is what the archetypes do. So they. Let me read this one more time and say this, right? They are patterns of thought and emotion, which provide us with a set of tools, skills, capabilities, opportunities, and potential for this lifetime. They form the foundation upon which each individual builds his own experience of life, coloring them with his unique culture, personality, and life events. right? So when you study anything, any mythology, any religion, anything like that or whatever, right? Mystery system, you supposed to take out, first and foremost, all of the main characters' names and place you in there. Because in your dreams, everything that you experience inside your dream, they're gonna get into this too, is really a part of you. So it's the same thing with the mythology. You know what I'm talking about? Because you study the mythology, then you watch the movies, you break the movies down, then you have dreams, and you break your dreams down or whatever, and then you utilize that according to your life. And you basically are lining your life up with lining your conscious up with your subconscious. You know what I'm talking about? Which your subconscious or the unconscious creates the reality. You know what I'm talking about? Then we got the collective unconscious, which would be everybody. So I would look at that as like the Akashic records. You know what I'm talking about? But on this scale, we trying to fix ours personally. Fix it like go inside of ourselves. We would naturally be able to do this, right? If we didn't have the flaws that we have. How do we have the flaws that we have? Society, parents, friends, spouses, life, and not having the understanding, the understanding. Because we haven't been taught. But now the information is out there. So what you gonna do with it? You know what I mean? Um, um, since they are unconscious, they cannot be known or experienced in themselves. It can only be known directly or indirectly through their effects, their manifestation in images and symbols, and by examining behavior, images, art stories, myths, or dreams. Basically, everything I just said. Um, knowing the individual archetype patterns at play in our lives can provide us with insight into the way in which we operate in the world, help us examine the reoccurring patterns playing out in our lives and our dreams, gives us insight into the key challenges and choices that each of our archetypes each of our archetype patterns bring into our lives. Um, Gives us insight into the areas of our lives in which we feel stuck, gives us insight into our relationships with others, enables us to make more conscious and insightful choices. Basically, becoming more aware of ourselves. I need some water. Hold on. Give me 1 second. You want to become aware of yourself. Okay. Um, why is that important? Because nobody, right? And I'm only talking about, you know what I'm talking about when I get to talking about. We're gonna talk about this God talk that everybody like to talk about. So we didn't come here to be no slaves, man. And by slave, I'm not talking about old black people. We were slaves 400 years ago. No, we didn't come here to be no slaves. When you come here and you allow someone to control your energy, control your emotions on a physical level, on a spiritual level, then you are a slave, right? You have to control that on your own. You have to be in control of that on your own, the nature, all of that stuff. As ancient people, why do I keep saying ancient people? Because that's what we are. We got to bring back the ancient mind. Forget the body, because that don't matter. We gotta bring back the ancient mentality. So as ancient people, whatever, we didn't worship nothing. And if we did, it was the Great Mother. Because the Great Mother is that unpolarized state of matter that we came from. The triple stages of darkness. Right? So coming here, getting here, manifesting here, we was able to, we was pure back then, the mentality. We was able to, what do you call that? Project what was inside of us. All these archetypes that lay inside of us or whatever, right? We was able to recreate a semi version of that, basically. Because this is not, you know what I'm saying? This ain't really real. We know this isn't real because everything has to fall out and die. You feel what I'm talking about? and then it comes back and just do that, and we know that's a cycle or whatever. Creation is the law of cycles. So that just means it's gonna keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. Nothing's never really being created. Like nothing's never really being new. That's the law of the cycle. It just keep on going, a cycle that keeps on continuing. So however the creation goes, it continues to go like that. However it started is however it's gonna end. This is why in the Bible it still say, I'm the Alpha and I'm the Omega. I'm the beginning and I'm the end. When they say I'm the Alpha and I'm the Omega, they talking about you. I'm the Alpha, I'm the Omega. Gotta understand what they talking about when they dropping these metaphysical metaphors. You know, there was a time when all of us was here and we knew how to access this information, like naturally. And then we lost that aspect. Then the priest stepped in, you know what I'm talking about. And this ain't like no to like, you know, go against no priest or nothing like that. But the priest stepped in because ultimately they wasn't like it wasn't all of them with ill intentions. Definitely people get like that. You know, that it's in human nature. But it goes back with the experience that we have. So we needed people to keep this information or whatever. And that's the only reason that they were here for. Had the information, you know what I'm talking about. Allow people or give people the ability to figure out who they was again, or why did they come here. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has a purpose of coming down here or whatever. But the thing is, right, people have lost the ability to go inside of themselves and figure out, so what the priests do. The priests manipulate that. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them. Like I said, back in the day, we had a culture, and the culture was strong, and it kept up. But then we have, if you ever understand the mythology in the Egyptian mythology, when they talk about the Hyksos, they wasn't talking about no white people coming. It was anybody that was foreign to the land. Hyksos mean foreign invaders. So we was a bunch of different people invading. You feel what I'm talking about? Messing up what was going on. Those were the wars that people be talking about and stuff like that. A lot of infight and all that stuff. This is way before all of the stuff that people mad about right now to talk about. But what about getting back to who you actually is? You feel what I'm saying? Because in doing all of that, the priest, right? With all of that fighting, the priest understood that we was going down, going to decline. So everything and everybody, the same thing that everybody hate right now, right? Before, like as that was coming into the making, them people or whatever you want to say was coming into the making or whatever, we was at a decline, building pyramids and doing all that stuff, trying to hurry up and build up some memorabilia. You feel what I'm talking about? Because we knew we finna go into a sleep. Now we understood we gonna come back in the same bodies to do the same thing. The same exact thing. The thing is, right? The thing is, we was gonna go to a sleep for a long, long period of time. We done been asleep for thousands of years. By thousands, I don't mean tens of thousands of years, but the state that we in right now, we've been in here for a long time. Somebody just came up here and was like, "Oh man, that's white people stuff or what the been." You don't understand the Nation of Islam information and what they was talking about. You feel what I'm saying? They really got some information to bring it down when they brought it when they brought their system down here. They told you already, man, what was going on with these people. You feel what I'm saying? Certain information was kept and held for us at a specific time, man. You feel me? Now we here. Now we utilizing it. The thing is, we done been taught how we should utilize our information, right? Because we done been taught on because we have been taught on how we should utilize our information. We like, okay, let's say I'm a Christian, right? But I'm black, so now I ain't no Christian no more. But I'm messing with the Egyptian stuff. You feel what I'm saying? So, but I'm still worshiping it like a Christian. I Christianize it, not Christianize it though, religify it, because it ain't about the Christians. It ain't about the Hebrews. It ain't about the Islam. It ain't about nothing. It's about the information. For real, for real. That's the thing. I just say Christian because them be the main ones that come up here. You know what I'm talking about? But we gotta understand like what's truly going on before we can really have them type of conversations for real, for real. The best bet is to understand self. You know what I'm saying? It's to understand the self. We'll sit here, we'll like this information. Okay, that's cool, right? And when something happened to anybody, any one of us or whatever, right? We be walking around here with our heads cut off like a chicken, not knowing what to do with the next move or whatever. This information is not just to be set here and just heard, it's to be utilized. You know what I'm talking about? Whatever you don't utilize or whatever, then you throw it away. You know what I'm talking about? But you don't harbor it. You put it back up or put it back out there for the next individual. You know what I'm talking about? You take what works for you. You know what I'm saying? And go forth and be great. If we've been living in that the quote unquote new world order, right? And now it's over. Right? It's been up for about 6,000 years. A little over. Right? We understand now that we coming into power. Because what does that mean? That's the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm goes in the law of compensation or the law of compliments. Whereas if you smack me, right, or if I slap you, you smack me or whatever, I'm supposed to, or you supposed to get the same slap that will emanate the same type of pain back. You feel what I'm talking about? Or if you go through something in life, right? If you go through something in life or whatever, the pain that you went through or whatever, right? You're supposed to experience the same amount of pleasure, right? In the same fashion. So if you experience the extreme amount of pain, you're supposed to experience the extreme amount of pleasure for the same amount of time and duration, basically. Right? Now, watch this. They saying, with that understanding, they saying you was once up, now you down. You are now rising up again. But on this planet, you cannot never really escape that law because this planet is built off laws, right? That's a hermetic law. Now, all of what I'm talking about right now. Now, because of that, you really wanna step outside of that time frame, right? How do you do that? You got to raise yourself up to the highest point to where you really don't get affected by it. Now, you're always gonna get affected by it in this physical reality. So what do? You become light. How do you become light? You go inside of yourself. Let me first look this up real quick so I can give you the actual definition. Cause I know that's what people like. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna read this up. Like read this from online real quick. Hold on. Uh, bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, hold on. I typed the wrong word. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, calcium, and phosphorus. Another five elements make up about 0.85% of the remaining mass. Sulfur, let me see, potassium, sodium, chlorine, magnesium. All of these 11 elements are essential elements. Okay? Why is that important? because that's the primary aspects of what you are. You know what I'm talking about? The primary aspects of what you are. When you quote unquote descend, get out of here, or whatever, my water just goes. Nigga always loses something. Oh, right in my face. When you quote unquote descend and do all that or whatever, they got to study where your body's supposed to get lighter, right? Like, let's say if it weighed however much, it's supposed to get lighter after you quote unquote descend, right? That's what that is. But that is a form of light. People can't get that through their head. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you rather hear somebody just tell you light, but you don't want to hear the oxygen, the this, that, and third, because this what I'm saying. I tell you this because knowledge is power. And having this understanding on this or whatever, right? In that quantum reality, that's what it is. In that quantum reality, right, which is an organic reality, more organic, more authentic than this one. You feel what I'm talking about? Because nothing never really dies. The concept doesn't exist. If I just told you you was light, you feel what I'm saying? You'll be okay with that. We've been told that for thousands and thousands of years. Not really, just the past however many years, 30, 40, whatever. But I'm just saying, I'm talking about as far as the consciousness goes. People just want to take that. You know what I'm talking about? No, man, it's the science, man. The science. All of us, the Christ. Watch this. When you in the before you even a baby, like an embryo, excuse me, before you even a baby, the mitochondria inside of the woman's egg, right? It sends out a beacon of light, and it hits the strongest sperm cell, which is you, right? You and I. We wasn't strong because we was moving like that or whatever, because we just was made it fast, but we just had the strongest DNA at the time. So we picked up the light, and that the tail on the sperm cell, right, is the mitochondria in the man, because the man can't pass the mitochondria DNA. You see what I'm talking about? When it hits the egg, the tail breaks off, and the light that was accumulated by the woman, by the mitochondria DNA, the cell, like the whole beacon or whatever, the mothership, right? The egg then goes into the sperm cell, then goes inside of the egg, and then it dies off, basically. It sacrifices itself. It literally looks like a cross in there. It sacrifices itself, right, to create a whole new form and rise itself up out of that darkness, the triple stages of darkness, into a new set of darkness, right, basically, because we have that darkness, which is a more authentic form of this darkness, the creation that you see. Why did I say that? Because this is the actual veil on your eyes, for real, for real. You have a third eye, and you have these physical eyes. And if you look at your physical eyes, then you see the physical reality. But when you start to tap into your third eye and you start to see other things or whatever, you see things beyond this reality or whatever, you understand that the physical is the actual dark side. Everything about the quote unquote dark side, religion tells you to stay away from, right? They tell you to stay away from it because dealing with that will separate you not only from the masses, right, but it will separate you from those bots, the NPCs, and all of that stuff or whatever, right? So you can really get on a personal level, a personal relationship with yourself, the true God, right? Getting on this personal relationship with yourself, what would that do? My water at. What would that do? It would then change your reality. Remember, I told you your reality or your subconscious mind changes the reality around you. So the reality around you will start to destruct and start to change or whatever. You feel what I'm talking about? So that means the people around you, if they can withstand that information that you putting out or whatever, that would mean that their vibration too will be rising up as well. Because you can only lower your vibration, or a person can rise their vibration. if you around somebody and they can't rise their vibration up with you or whatever, and you state and like you choose to be around them still, it don't matter who they is, your vibration will start to lower down because you will have to lower your vibration down naturally just to be around them because you really don't want to harm this person. You feel what I'm saying? Because understand that if your vibration is too high, those that's vibrating low cannot be in the vicinity of you, physical or spiritual. It does not matter. Because it's literally like we living in different realities. So this is another reason why I don't be arguing with people. Like bro, you can believe in what you want to believe in, but don't try to project your stuff onto me. Um 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 if it's working for you, like I said, that's what I mean when I say that. If it's working for you, that's the only thing that's important. Never let nobody stray you away from that. You know what I'm saying? You heard about the story about the Satanist guy that said he saw Jesus? I never had that experience. I never had that experience. You know what I'm talking about? But I've had other divine encounters with other entities, all types of other stuff. So it ain't it ain't that's just not what I'm involved in. But for other people, I understand that it does exist because a lot of this stuff is our mind, as well as the spirit of these guys. You like not you, but people believe in this so much. They believe in this so much. It's not real. Fake cash is not real. Even though this don't have all the materials that we think it has in it, it's more real than that, right? So what does that mean? That means that the energy that's placed on it, they got all that symbolism on there, and it has the face of those people on there or whatever, right? That means their energy, their spirit, that spirit of whoever that is, because I don't even know, I don't even care, exists in the minds, which is the astral plane, the spirit plane, the mental plane, or the master, or the collective unconscious. They still exist. They still get to chill. They never really die. You know what I'm talking about? This is why people do so much to be remembered for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't have what it takes to get on and move on to the next step. The Egyptians always told you to make it to the Duat. They were trying, okay. They say east of the Nile, that's where the sun rose up. You feel what I'm talking about? So that was Khepera. And then Khepera was like the scarab beetle going across the sky. And then it died in the west. You feel what I'm talking about? And then, but for a better understanding, let's just say the west of the or the east of the Mississippi River. So the East Coast, where the sun rises, on the West Coast. You feel me? Talking about desert lands or whatever. You feel what I'm saying? That was the Duat. But that represented the subconscious mind. You say, what does that flag mean behind you? It means the Baphomet. You want to know what it represents for me? It represents duality. Both masculine and feminine energies. Masculine and feminine energies and all of the elements. Right? And being able to have that understanding and utilize that to raise one spirit up to the highest point. It's the Baphomet or the Go to Mendez realm, which in fact I was just talking about Khepera, which is another form of Atum Ra and all that stuff or whatever. That's another form of that right there, whatever. The hidden light. Because the Satanists or whatever, they like to put it, you know what I'm saying? They like to utilize the Baphomet or whatever because of Lucifer or whatever and what Lucifer represents. Lucifer represents the light bearer, right? So watch this. We have something in all religions, whatever we have a great fall, okay? And we have these light beings or whatever. We have this entity or whatever, the angel, whatever, Lucifer, whatever, that was supposed to be symbolized as the beautiful angel, whatever. Remember, all these angels are just aspects of what the divine actually is, because you never really can explain what that really is, the actual divine, this source that we all supposed to come from. You can't explain it, so you have different archetypes or attributes, and that's how the angels explained it or whatever. So the face of God would have been Lucifer, and he who dares to be God would be the crown chakra. What do you call that? Michael or Michael. You get what I'm saying? So you understand you understand we getting here as far as with the fall. Now, then you have you have you have this fall. You have the Watchers falling. You have the Titans falling. You have this place, this Tartarus. I forgot how to pronounce where the Watchers will fall, but it's all synonymous with Earth, right? You have demon, you have daemon, you have human. But it also just really, it ultimately just means physical. You know what I'm saying? Because when you understand what we really are, and we're light, the light that we actually have, it solidifies when it comes into our circle, when it comes into to the atmosphere. This quote unquote light that we possess inside of our body. You know what I'm talking about, on our skin or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? If you know, you know. But understanding that this is ultimately why them saying this be saying that though. They got a quote. They be like, I'm the highest form or the highest embodiment of, of of human life, and all that to me, what that really means to me is like society or the religions be like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. All those don'ts goes against your actual nature, and whether it's good or bad, that's not the point or not, because you're not enforcing your own power onto anybody else. What you're doing is trying to bring about a certain awareness in yourself and around yourself, basically. And you have to utilize every single one of those don'ts or whatever they say. You know what I'm talking about? To be able to bring about this experience and have this experience. Because let's say the Ten Commandments, the sins, and all that stuff, they really come from the 42 negative confessions of Mayat, which is actually 147. But we only deal with 42. But the negative confessions are confessions that you have with yourself, or an aspect of yourself that you would call Mayat, which is the balance, the goddess of balance or whatever. And this goddess of balance would balance your heart out on the scales of or with the feather on it. And if your heart was not lighter than a feather, then that means another aspect of you called Amit would consume that standing, or let's say the present spirit that you possess right now. It will reconstruct that energy. You feel I'm talking about? Reconstruct that energy and shoot it back here. That was the understanding. And that was just us, and that's how we did it. You feel I'm talking? It wasn't like no being was waiting on us and doing all that. We understood that we came here for something. So the Baphomet, it comes in. You have both negative and both positive energies, meaning both masculine and both feminine energies or whatever. Um, you have this goat that sits on the earth. The earth represents the root chakra, and then you see the conduces, which is the staff of Tahuti that you see on every single hospital car, ambulance, and all of that. And then you have, like I said, both the feminine energy, because it's a snake rising up the caduceus or whatever. Also, it has wings or whatever, and you see the 5 pointed star upside down. But on the pineal gland of the Baphomet or whatever, it's a 5 pointed star up, representing the illumination. And then at the crown, it's fire coming out, representing cosmic illumination. Also, it has the horns, and everything in mythology that deals with horns or has horns represents fertility. You feel what I'm saying? Also representing the feminine energy in it. They utilize Lucifer because Lucifer, the planet with Lucifer, is Venus. You feel what I'm talking about? Which is the feminine energy. So it's always been a duality when it was talking about that. You know what I'm talking about? But they try to demonize it and make it evil and do all this. But understand this: in your pineal gland, or in your head, you have a pineal gland and a pituitary gland. This is what this represents: androgyny of the mind. So when we get back to that, right? When we get back to that one being, because that's what that means. That means I'm one, right? I'm one with the divine or whatever, but I possess both energies. That's the thing, because it takes both energies to create anything. But the thing is, we have so many different separations, and it all started with us separating from being that one being. So ultimately, this means illumination for me. You know what I'm saying? But somebody else will come in here and be like, "Nah, man, it should mean this, that, and the third." But that's fine though. If whatever you believe it means, if it is it working for you? See, some people have an understanding on something and don't even utilize it, right? That whole understanding that I have for that can be utilized in my day to day dealings in life, right? But um 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 if you see something that's evil or deem something that's this, that, and the third or whatever, why even discuss it and have a conversation? I would be trying to be so far away from it, right? Might as well. I wouldn't waste my time trying to save or explain none of that, right? As a black kid growing up, I never like when you magic. See, we naturally knew. Everybody had to tell us, don't get involved. Somebody already told, like, or somebody been telling these individuals, hey, now you ain't supposed to be doing this. You ain't supposed to be. Anybody told me that? I just knew. But that knowing is a different knowing. It's a spiritual knowing. It's your spirit telling you you're not ready to be involved in this. You're not ready to be involved in this because society will have something to say, and you have not gone inside yourself, dealt with your chakras, and stood on what it is you needed to stand on. As far as hey, this is what it is I'm dealing with. This is me. This is the acceptance that I have. I'm accepting myself. I love myself, whatever, and I will not let nobody stray me away from my purpose. No, you good. Cause it just listen. It goes in with everything that I've been talking about this entire time. So you decent. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with explaining, or understanding or whatever. I have a problem with projectors. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's about, man. That's all it's about. When you listen, when you have that self love, but it's gonna be hard though. You know what I'm talking about? Because self love, you're gonna have to love people from a distance. You're gonna be lonely. You know what I'm talking about? When you're dealing with true self love, you're gonna be lonely because watch this. Sometimes when a person call you, we gonna just use an example. You know that one friend that always call you and always has some negative things to say about their girlfriend, about their man, or whatever, right? And you being a good friend, you gonna sit there and listen. But understand this: that form of energy or that form of toxicity or whatever is a form of projection as well. And meaning, and it's different from the young perspective or whatever, but it's a projection as far as you're able to feel that. You know what I'm talking about? That friend call you, be like, man, Joe, this what the bam, she just doing all this, she doing all that. I'm just tired of her. She done did this, she did. You ready to jump up and do everything with them. Ooh, you get energized as well. Females definitely. You feel what I'm talking about? Man, my nigga done did this on the third wherever, girl. We gotta go do this. What the band, yada yada yada. What the band? We finna go slide his tires. We finna go do all. You know what I'm talking about? All type of stuff. So you done got amped up and let somebody dictate your entire life because you feel like you love them. Now watch this. You could be like, man, because this is my homie, but I ain't really trying to get involved in that or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, they don't know that they're being manipulated. Man, you don't fuck with me. You feel what I'm talking about? Like we ain't rocking. What's going on? You feel what I'm talking about? And we have the guilt, and we just go ahead. And sometimes we get ourselves in stuff we don't need to be getting involved in, adding further stress to our life. So basically, what I'm trying to get at is sometimes you're gonna have to cut people off. You know what I'm saying? You we ain't trying to seek friends. We ain't trying to seek no family. We ain't trying to seek none of that because it's gonna happen. And when it happens, it's gonna be overwhelming if you're not mentally prepared for it. When the universe is ready to bless you or bestow you with your purpose or your power and of knowing and all of that stuff, whatever, it's gonna be ready. You feel what I'm talking about? And if you're not ready, it don't matter. You just gotta hang in there and deal with it. If not, then you know what happens. But if you still walking around here right now, whatever, breathing, living, doing all of that or whatever, then it's a purpose to why you're here. If you don't know it right now, and more than likely it's spiritual. Other people, like we be calling people NPCs, and they're definitely non-playable characters. Meaning, a they spirit, the player, their soul ain't even involved. It's just experience. An individual that's spiritual and and spiritually making a conscious change and conscious shifts within the consciousness or whatever is actively playing a role in their spiritual journey. While the other individual, they are as well, because like I said, the collective unconscious or whatever, this information of what we be like, oh, that's ratchet, or that's bad, or well, that ain't spiritual, that's not, all of this is spiritual and it needs to happen. But some of us need to be doing what we doing right now, like this. How do I do it? How do how do I do it? My heart is dominating this. I'm crazy. I feel it. The need to ascend. See, listen, I'm gonna tell you this, right? Um, Most of us, you can't you can't try to convince your husband. You know what I'm saying? Um, he's going through what he's going through right now. You just got to be able to be there for him. You know what I'm talking about? After the quote unquote ascension. You get what I'm saying? Like, I have a lot of family members that's alive, like physically, and alive non-physically. You know what I mean? And they ain't like the ones that's not here right now physically did not believe what I was talking about or whatever, right? Now, not all of them, like, but some of them I didn't talk to afterwards, as far as after the quote unquote ascension or whatever. And yeah, they know now. So you just gotta be there for them type. You know what I'm talking about? Build an altar or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Don't. It's it's kind of hard to explain a person that don't understand this information and don't want to take this information in. It's kind of hard to explain that to them or whatever, especially going through a situation like that in life. You get what I'm talking about? Because for an individual like this, like us, this is the ultimate AS. I'm ascending. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to sway them, and I've learned that you really can't do that for real. For real, I got people I know is about to go through that. What do I do? You know what I'm saying? I can't persuade them. I won't try. I can just be there for them as best as I can, spiritually and physically as well. You know what I'm talking about? Because ultimately, I'm only talking about family members. You know what I'm saying? So it's older family members or whatever. So they looking at me as the younger cousin or the younger nephew, you know what I'm saying, the grandson or whatever, stuff like that. So I gotta work with what I work with. I gotta work with what I got, type shit. And that's how you gotta do it. If that's the route you want to take. Because some people will tell you like shit, fuck it, and you know what I'm talking about. But I won't say that because we still having an experience. We still have an experience, and we can talk about poltergeist and spirits being trapped in other dimensions. What does that mean about us? We are a spirit that's trapped in this dimension, a physical dimension. You know what I'm saying? I can't just shut him up. I can't just shut him up. I can't just. No, you don't shut him out. You know what I'm saying? You don't shut him out. As a spiritual person, it's okay to love someone. You know what I'm saying? Because how do they show us the heart? They show us the heart being like this, right? But the heart is actually half of that. So in actuality, both parties is two individuals coming together. You know what I'm talking about? That's your husband. If you was slacking, he's supposed to be able to pick up your slack and vice versa. You get what I'm saying? So you just gotta be there for him. This is about the best thing he can have, having a spiritual wife. You get what I'm saying? The best thing he can have right now. The best thing he can have. And this experience is gonna be a tough experience for you, but in the end, it will come out to be greater. You have a greater understanding. You know what I'm talking about. You know we never really passed. You know we is sin. You already know, you said it. So we only is sin. And you have the ability to go in and tap in and be able to free them from whatever they're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Because it's really based on what you believe in. I had an ego death, which an ego death is the same thing as physically dying. Because you feel like your physical self is dying. And that's the only thing. So it's the ego. That's the human part of you. And when you allow that to die, the actual spirit part come up, and then you get to sit there. People be like, "I was just talking to God." It's really yourself. If you don't have no understanding, you're gonna associate it with God. But being a spiritual person, you're gonna be like, "Man, I saw this, I saw that," because you already know what it is. You already know the symbolism. So I already knew. Mine is just a little bit different. I came out with a better understanding on life in my life. You feel me talking about, and the information that I was being able to take in. And ultimately, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Getting into the information was only about how to pass on out of here and not come back. So essential. But I understand you can't really just project that onto anybody. Nobody really. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta tell people really what they was talking about. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I'm doing a decent job on telling people this is what they was talking about. Whereas everybody else saying the motherships are coming and doing all this, that, and the third or whatever, I'm telling them like, man, the earth is changing. People still gonna be here, but a lot of us aren't. You know what I'm talking about? And that's okay. But you gotta understand how to gateway yourself up out of here. You know? Being a spirit, being a soul, because we not a physical body. There is an electromagnetic sphere around the earth that stops solar winds and from getting in and from getting out. So, but we got gateways. We got borealises, like the aurora borealis. You know what I'm talking about? And those green lights that's leaving, well, I said it already. Those green lights that you see, those are souls that's leaving. Yup. Pole shift. Those green lights that you see in the aurora borealis, those are souls leaving. But when they talk about global warming and all that stuff, or whatever, that's because more holes happening inside the what do you call that? The electromagnetic sphere. And that comes from solar winds or solar flares. You know what I'm talking about? A gamma ray burst is a big solar flare, so that would possibly destroy the Earth. That's what they say. But you got to understand what's going on here with us in being a spiritual individual. The information that we take in, we utilize to transform ourselves and our being, whatever, is actually light. You know what I'm talking about? Certain light that came here and did something to us, did something to our DNA, whatever, that's making us, well, that's really not making us, that's helping us do what we're doing right now. It's really just a part of the process, but it's helping us do what we're doing right now. It's definitely spiritual, yes. You know what I'm saying? But they be like the mothership and all that. It's been here, and it's multiple, and it's been here. They said 144,000 ancestors they on their way back. They finna show up. They been here, and it's more than that. You know what I'm saying? So it's way more going on than what these people is trying to prepare people for. When I feel like they need to be preparing them for something else. Prepare their minds. Allow them to see the truth on their own. Allow an individual to step aside themselves and become aware of what's going on, versus them just being like, well, so and so said the world about to end and what the band will. Because understand, magic is real, right? Understand this, magic is real, and that's our natural way of doing things. And Magic is spiritual. It's science. It's the same thing. So these people that we hate so much, these quote unquote the elite or whatever, they're gonna do everything in their power to stop what we're doing. That includes help us out. If it means help, if it means stop this. So don't you think they want to promote what's that word? They want to promote the violence. They want that. They want you to promote that because they understand we gods, we spiritual beings. No, that don't mean oh yeah we just peaceful beings. No, we got some real magic, but you got to step inside of yourself and understand that. They don't know that. You feel what I'm talking about? But these quote unquote elites do. So most people just waiting like man, you know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna take over, we're gonna do this, but you're not going inside of yourself, realizing who you actually are. Versus now while the government or whatever, they like, yeah, we finna just allow this, the violence and then to promote this and do all this or whatever. While they physically ready to get rid of these physical bodies. That's all they want. They can't just act when they want to. You feel what I'm talking about? Why I say that? The reason why I say that is because of our chakras and our kundalini. It's like a fail safe. The minute they act and they try to actually, what's that word? Threaten our existence for real, then we all activate automatically. Because that's like disrupting the natural order. That will really be disrupting the natural order for real. You can't disrupt the natural process of things for real. So if you do that, they understand that that'll wipe out everything. A solar flare wouldn't be nothing. It would literally be a gamma ray burst on a planet. Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what it's about. The ones that elevate high, it's supposed to be 1 billion, 8 million. That's supposed to be our natural population. So it ain't gonna be 8 billion people that step in. A lot of these people gonna go off and do what they do. And it's gonna be a real spiritual thing. The only reason why things is happening to us, like I said earlier, whatever, because they don't know which one is which. It ain't gonna be no one Messiah. Ain't no such thing. We all the Messiah. That's a title. That's a title that you have to go inside of yourself to reach. Because all the mythologies are based on a blueprint of our soul. You know what I mean? Most individuals now that's telling us about certain let's say different extraterrestrials, different beings and all that stuff or whatever, they not wrong. They're not wrong at all. But they're able to understand the information in a different way than the next individual. So they go inside of themselves and they see this stuff, but they tell you it in a way to where you will religify it. No, man, they telling you something that's real, basically that you can go and read inside of a book, but it's more authentic because it came outside of them. It came outside of their own being or whatever. But you're supposed to take that, right, and utilize that same information or whatever and go inside of yourself. You're going to come up with something different. That's why it always sounds different. Now, you be like, you can say, you know what I'm talking about if you want to, like, yeah, I come from here, I come from here, I come from here, I come from here. But ultimately, we come from the unpolarized state of matter, which is just everything, right? But going forward, since this was created, and those ancient primordial worlds did exist that we lived in. Hold on, give me 1 sec. I gotta cut my headphones off. 1 second. Since these primordial energies did exist and whatever, right? They still exist. They exist inside of our chakras. You know what I'm saying? And it's way more chakras. But the main chakras we should be dealing with is a 7 if you want to get somewhere. You know what I'm talking about? And dealing with our true power. So what I'm saying is, if the right individuals, which is the spiritual ones that's really on this, if the right ones didn't get that, man, we really supposed to be tapping in and getting it. It don't matter about saying it. I'm talking about actually going in and doing something. It don't matter about getting on TikTok and, hey, man, look what I'm doing. All that's real. But it don't matter if you're not trying to tell a person how to do it
You know what I'm talking about? Actually, like some techniques or whatever, or we actually doing this. You really need to be staying hidden, because all you got to do is just talk about this and they're going to take you out. So if you doing something, you know what, you already know what's happening. Ain't nobody going to step for real, because that's not what it's about until the time. It's going to be a time when it happens, but it ain't going to last that long for real, because you got to you be realistic in what we actually is for real. It ain't going to happen for real. And watch this. Let's be realistic. They have weaponry, right? They got weaponry like that's like, it ain't like regular bullets. It's like electromagnetic pulses and stuff like that or whatever. So they know what we is, Joe. They getting prepared. The thing, so what you think that's gonna do to your physical body if you not prepared in the spiritual, astral? They know they can't mess with us in the astral plane. They don't want us there. All we gotta do, they have to go to sleep. We don't gotta go to sleep. So, when you tap into yourself, you can be like this. I'm sitting here, I'm be like this. I'm gonna just say it. Doctor Strange, how Doctor Strange was able to just push people out of their body into their astral body or whatever. Easy. I'm gone. Go over to somebody. What do you call that? Go over to their house or whatever. You feel what I'm talking about? This is what they was trying to do, or maybe they was doing when they was with the Montauk Project and the whole Stranger Things. Montauk Project or Stranger Things used to be called the Montauk, but then they changed it to Stranger Things. You feel what I'm talking about? But it was raw. But what they was talking about with the girl in there, what's her name? Millie Bobby Brown. She was supposed to be like, not a clone, but she was supposed to be like a kid that was psychic or whatever, that can astral travel, and they was utilizing her to do things. What the government call it? Remote traveling or remote viewing. That's what the government call it. But we was like, they was astral traveling. The thing is, you be like, okay, well, how can I touch somebody and do all this in my with my physical body? The same way when you be in a house that you feel like it's haunted and the spirits be knocking stuff over. They got a lot of energy because they feed off of people's fear, which is an emotion. It's a low vibration. It's 19 hertz. But they feed off that. You feel what I'm saying? So the information that we take in, the mudras, the mantras, the meditations, the exercises, the techniques, the deities, all the stuff that we deal with to illuminate ourselves and bring about the Ashe inside of us will ultimately bring about a more than subtle reality, right? If you notice what really goes on when you become conscious, you notice like it just tell you really not to do nothing. You start off like, Joe, I'm not in a religion no more. I believe in myself. Then you like, I'm gonna eat healthy. I'm gonna eat like some chicken. Then you like, I ain't eat chicken no more. You feel what I'm talking about? I'm gonna eat some vegetables. Then you like, I just can't eat any vegetable. I gotta eat certain type of vegetable because some be toxic and some be not. You feel what I'm saying? Then you be like, bro, but really, for real, ain't nothing really real. You know what I'm talking about? And then you be like, well, the water, I'm gonna just drink some water. This deer water, this spring water. Okay, cool. Nah, I gotta get some alkaline water. But what alkaline water? Then you be like, I can't have it in no plastic bottle because all the plastic seeps inside or whatever. Now I'm getting toxins again. You feel what I'm talking about? Then you be like, okay, H3O. You be like, I gotta get the water out of my fruits. But then you be like, really, what fruits for real? Then you go to, all I'm doing is breathing in air now. It sounds funny, but you got them old people that just be breathing areas. But you have to take in certain, like you gotta do certain techniques, like certain, and do all that or whatever to do that. But what that is, breatharians, they deal with prana, but prana is chi, ashe, the breath of life, energy. That's all it is. It moves throughout the quote unquote air or oxygen or whatever. And it travels inside of you. And all it does is it energizes your astral body, because regardless if you're dealing with your astral body or not, it will always be a subtle thing. If I'm talking about inside of your being or whatever, you feel me? So, like, you got chakras, you got what do you call that? They call them nadis. Like, you got veins inside of your body, but then you got nadis, and you got chakras, and you got organs. You feel what I'm talking about? So if you got a bogus chakra, you feel what I'm talking about, you gonna definitely have a bogus organ, because eventually, because it's like when you have an idea, you have like a thought or something, you write it down, it's kind of semi-physical, and then you create it, now it's physical. But it started off in your thoughts. You know what I'm talking about? In a hidden place, or a place that's not seen with the physical eyes, basically. That's kind of what your chakras is. No, yeah, but that's what it is. Is that not what it is? You know what I'm saying? And all I feel like now is, I feel like all it is just preparing you for a new life. See, because if you gonna grow into actual light, right? You got to go through all the phases. Now, going back, I was talking about prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells, which is just bacteria. All multi-organisms, which is a human being and animals and all that stuff, is supposed to be eukaryotic cells. The earth, all of that. But the sun and light beings and bacteria like that or whatever are single cell organisms. They have prokaryotic cells. So inside of these, the humans, eukaryotic cells, you got a nucleus, which the nucleus, I understand, only means the light or creation. So the light that you see, this physical light and organization. And then inside of the what do you call that? The prokaryotic cell, you have a nucleoid, which is just chaos. It's just all of the DNA just wrapped around. So all the information just everywhere. But it's in one. It's still moving as one though. You feel what I'm talking about? Because it's a single cell or unicell. Universe. It's a universe within itself type shit. Whereas you have a multi-cell organism. You like a multi-cell. You a multiverse being or whatever, and you be like, oh, that's decent, that's nice. What the band? Ooh. That's a whole bunch of different places to go to and get stuck in. Right? Being a chaos being, a primordial being, all of this existed inside of you as one thing. You able to experience it at one time. Can't fathom that with a human brain. That's what we going back into. You know what I'm talking about? They always talked about it. They always talked about it. But it goes back to these, let me say this. The hydrogen, the oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, calcium, and phosphorus. You know what I'm saying? You have, like, as far as these solar winds going on, right? The Egyptians was like, hey, you want to meet Ra at the sun, right? With his boat. Now, we definitely had a physical boat, like one of those pharaohs had a physical boat, but it wasn't no big boat. I think they was just doing that for looks, but it was a boat. But this other boat was metaphysical. Like, so Ra or Keper Ra, understand, they looked at Keper Ra as the scarab beetle as a self-created thing. You know what I'm talking about? Because those things were made out of basically poop. You feel what I'm talking about? So you have the dung beetle, which is the sun, pushing the eukaryotic cell, which is the bacteria, the doo-doo. You feel what I'm talking about? Which what is doo-doo? That's fertilizer. The eggs is inside of that, but the earth will be that, and the solar winds and the sun together will be Keper Ra pushing into the earth. That's what's going on right now. Us being the actual seeds inside. You feel what I'm talking about? So, but the Egyptians said, meet Ra at the sun. You know what I'm saying? Now, toxic? Yes. Yes. But watch this. Your entire body is toxic. You know what I'm saying? You take in alkaline, but your body is toxic. That's how it breaks it down. Everything about your body is toxic. Got a low pH. But you're supposed to put in higher pH things. You know what I'm saying? We got acid inside of our stomach, all types of stuff. Yeah. You feel me? So it get really deep. Now, as far as these Egyptians, now on this Egyptian boat, you got the Enid. You feel I'm talking about, which is like eight different gods or whatever. Now they just different alchemical terms or counterparts or whatever to your new light body, basically. In this whole what do you call that, understanding. And you can literally get this whole understanding. If you can understand quantum physics, you should get Judy K. King, what is it called? Isis thesis. But it breaks, and if you can understand Egyptian mythology, you ain't hit it right on the head. But it tells you, they told you, go in there or whatever. What do you call that? Go to the sun or whatever. But this type of the sun they was talking about, yup, it definitely is. I don't have the PDF to this one. If I did, I would have, you know what I'm saying, I could have gave it to you, but I definitely got this one. I went and got this one like right away. But cause it's like so key. It's like, I ain't gonna lie, so key. And just listen, you matter of fact, hit me up on either here or my Instagram. BabaAkil here or BabaAkil on my Instagram, and I BabaAkil, or the book is called Isis Thesis. But if you can't find it, just hit me up and I got you. Like I'll figure out to where you can be able to get it. You feel what I'm saying? And I got you. You ain't gotta worry about it. But anyways, right? You go to this place or whatever, right? You go to this sun. And I was talking about with the whole Aurora Borealis or whatever. You meet up with the sun and you go through something called horizontal DNA transfer. And everybody familiar with horizontal DNA transfer on a physical level, it's like when you be with somebody for so long or whatever, you got animals, anything like that or whatever, you start to take on the characteristics, your animals start to look like you, start to look like your spouse, all type of stuff. And we hear this and it sounds funny in our community or whatever, but it be a real thing. You know what I'm saying? But on a physical level, right? Well, on a spiritual level, right? On a metaphysical level, it's merging your DNA with the sun. And in the sun, we have ultraviolet rays, cosmic rays, gamma rays. It's all types of different radiation, basically cosmic radiation coming off the sun or whatever. And all of these different elements, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, all these different things put together as what you are on a quantum scale, needs to be merged with this what do you call, with these energies, basically, right? Now, within our earth, that's why the government is trying to change. Yeah. So you can't tap into this. The scientists tell us that the scientists tell us that we have 99% junk DNA, meaning we can't do nothing with it. But this is all inside of our junk DNA. You feel all of what I just named right there, whatever. So you merge all of that with the Ra, whatever, and all these different guys on the boat or whatever. Just like spiritually, you're supposed to take all the different characteristics with yourself or whatever, and be able to become these gods or whatever, because they represent different terms, different meanings or whatever, and different energies or whatever. You're supposed to become these guys to be able to know how to maneuver your new body, basically. But this, they talk about how the what do you call that, Ra and the dead king. The dead king will be us, basically, because it's a term for us. Because you're supposed to be becoming Osiris, basically. They traveling on waters, but these waters is literally in between the electromagnetic sphere and the electromagnetic sheath. It's the electromagnetic pulse. So it's literally the waterways that they talking about in the Egyptian mythologies. So the Egyptian was talking about quantum mechanics this entire time, is what I'm getting at. So, but watch this. If you don't merge yourself with the sun or whatever, we have a thing called the Van Allen belt inside the earth. This is how they got all the religions. This is how they got hell, because there wasn't like the first actual term for hell or whatever. Like in our let's say this, in our actual what do you call that, our actual primordial realms or whatever, was a cold place with no hope for warmth, for none of that. And they had other realms or whatever that was for warriors or whatever. Nothing to do with being good, nothing. If you was a regular person, you was going to hell. That was the term back. That's how it happened back in the day. That's how they looked at it. So if you wasn't of no importance or whatever, none of that, you was going to hell. You could have been anything. You could have been a good father. That was cool, but you're going to hell. You feel what I'm talking about? That's how he looked at it. So, because it was all, this is nothing but physical. So, yeah, you feel what I'm talking about? And then going deeper, if you go to Norse mythology, hell is an entity. This is a what do you call that? A goddess that was sent to this actual realm, and she just started ruling over it basically, because she was like so powerful in doing what she was doing in these primordial realms or whatever, taking over stuff basically. As a matter of fact, they talk about her and what do you call that? And what is it called? Helena or Hella or whatever from it's an Avengers movie, or not an Avengers movie, but it's I forgot which Thor movie it was, but it's Thor when you see his sister. That's her. But she way more vicious than that. And they sent her there just to hold her down. You feel what I'm talking about? And then she just ruled over or whatever, welcoming everybody that just welcoming though. It wasn't like that, but if you was just a regular individual, you was going there. So this other realm, they was calling it the Duat. The Duat means the house of the star, basically. So it literally means the house of the soul. So this is where the soul literally goes. This is where the soul is supposed to go. And it's was it Nikki and I'm not sure who those people are. I'm talking about like the Marvel Thor, like the movie Thor, Marvel. Inky, maybe I don't know, cause I don't really, you know what I'm saying. I don't really get involved in them, cause they gonna be trying to come. You know what I'm talking about? They gonna be trying to come. But what I was saying, if you don't become like, what's that word? If you don't have that much energy or whatever, you become a trapped particle on this Van Allen belt. A trapped particle like an ion or whatever, right? In the myth they talk about trying to help the fiends. Fiend is like a word for friend, basically. That's where it's an ancient word for friend, basically. So that's where it came from. So it's crazy how we call people fiends now. You know what I'm talking about? But it was a word for that though. But it was like help these fiends, basically. But it was these trapped particles is what they was talking about. But literally you able to, through your third eye, look at it in a different way. You able to look at the essence of these individuals, wherever these be real trapped people or trapped entities or whatever in this realm as you what do you call that? As you travel amongst this. But the thing is, on a scientific level, right? On a scientific level, when I'm talking about the hydrogen and all that stuff or whatever, it's just the alchemical process that's happening or whatever. The difference is, right? The difference is some of us be unconscious during the process and some of us be conscious during the process. You know what I'm saying? Meaning you can travel to the duat consciously right now and understand the ins and outs and how to get back and do all of this stuff or whatever, you feel I'm talking about, to mentally prepare yourself for when you transcend and be at the forefront of your brain. I know how to get way up out of here. Or you can just, right now, I understand before my transition, when you transcend out of this body, right, you will yourself, you will your essence to the, what do you call that, to the Aurora Borealis. That's an immediate process of taking over and doing all this. Meaning you have to merge yourself. So what I'm saying is, it will be literally like looking into the sun and walking into the sun. So however you can imagine that, that's exactly how it will be. So you have to make the conscious decision to be like, I'm finna merge into the sun or not. But remember, we have, what do you call that? We have this electromagnetic sphere and these solar winds. So it's almost like it's almost kind of like a ball of light with jump ropes over it, and you got to know the right time to jump inside of it. Literally the most practical thing ever. And everybody telling you to wait for this and wait for that and do this and do all that and do this and do all that. But when I give you all this information, you're gonna be like, oh, I get it now. And with that being said, you feel what I'm talking about? Live a life. You feel what I'm talking about? Live a life understanding, I know what's going on, I know what I'm finna be doing, because ultimately, right, that's what people be scared about. You know what I'm saying? And when you get that information, you're like, okay, now, what I'm finna do? I'm finna exercise my mind. Because I'm no longer gonna have no physical body no more. Society, look like when you, ooh, when you see this, you gonna be like, damn. And then, as far as society, they be like, you gotta be in your phones. They're not telling you this, but you gotta be in your phones. You gotta be on TikTok. You gotta be on computer. You gotta be on what do you call that? Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Like, you have to be involved in a digital reality. And they making it to where it's okay. Like, the whole people that's doing the NPC things, I find that really disturbing to watch. When they be like, ooh, thanks for the rose. Ooh, thanks for the rose. It just made me feel disgusting to even do that right there. But that was the example that I have for you. But it's real disturbing to watch though. And I love that people found the niche to take care of themselves, to sustain themselves. But how are you really, you're not really taking care of yourself for real, if you spend all your time doing all that or whatever? You ain't making no investments as far as taking back your rights, bettering your life, and doing all that stuff, whatever. That's the most important thing, going within or whatever. Cause you ain't gonna be able to do that no more. You're gonna find other avenues or whatever. They keeping you trapped in different realities. Like I said earlier, it's almost like everybody is living in a whole different reality. You know what I'm talking about? Things ain't really been the same no more. Stuff is just, it ain't the same. So because it ain't the same, it's you don't have a, it's so much different stuff going on. You don't have a chance to be able to, what do you call that, decipher from what's real and what's not real or whatever. There's so much going on being projected towards you at once right now, whatever. You don't know. You don't get a chance to be like, nah, is this, or question or whatever. You just gotta go. And now we living in the age of you can't judge nobody, which ain't nobody trying to judge nobody. It's actually disagreeing. See, when you disagree with somebody, they try to project that you judging. But I just don't agree. Sometimes the disagreement is I don't agree. Not I don't agree. I hate you and what the bam. It's just I don't agree. Yes, it's just hard worrying about my husband taking them to the next time for the exit. I feel. It's just so hard worrying about my husband taking him to. Man, listen, this is hard, right? This is really hard. It's all about weighing your options when it comes down to this point. I would ask myself, what did I learn from this situation? Am I in a position to where I can still learn in this position? Is it benefiting me? You know what I'm talking about? And then make your decision from there. I wouldn't say just leave or just but I don't know the severity of the what you call it. I don't think we should discuss all of that here right now like that. But from what we can say right now, whatever, it's hard. It's hard. So you gotta like when nah, listen, this what we do. You tweaking. You feel what I'm saying? Look, right? If you don't get past this, how you gonna be in a fight? See, what all these people be talking about, man, it's finna be a fight. It's finna be a war. We taking our planet back over. We overlook the queens that's supposed to rebuild the nation. We overlook that. It was the queens that was really getting it in, doing things for real. Why I say that? Cause you don't hear about them really. You don't hear about no warlock trials. You hear about the witch trials. Cause women always been connected to the mythology and the spirituality and back to the sources. So what you going through right now It's healing, man. You healing yourself. Also, you preparing yourself. That's what you should be doing. Ultimately, if what's going on right now due to the situation is inevitable, you should be preparing yourself for what's happening. You know what I'm talking about, or what's about to take place. Because, right, possibly, right, you could be guiding him in that next life. You gotta guide him to where he's supposed to be at. So ultimately he can be like, yeah, now you do this, and do that. You feel I'm talking about, or whatever, help you out. Because once a person ain't got this physical body no more, they able to do whatever once they know what's going on. So it's the same thing about being here. People be like, man, I'm finna walk the bed, but you have to know though. You know what I'm talking about? You gotta know. Same thing about a person that strictly believe, like I say, like strictly believe in the Bible or whatever. They say, it's just this, it's just that, it's just this, it's just that. If you don't really believe, truly believe that in your heart for real, you're not making it there. You're gonna put yourself in a place created by your own making. There is a there because it's systematically the minds of those individuals that was using that practice created it, and people still believe it. So it's the structure of it is still up. If don't nobody believe in that, then it becomes a dead system. You feel what I'm talking about? Then don't nobody, you really can't understand Christianity no more. But that probably won't happen. Well, it probably will happen, but it ain't happening right now. You feel what I'm talking about? People still in that. But what I'm getting at is the heaven that everybody want to go to, they're definitely not going to it. But it exists. It exists. It's the duat. That's where the concept came from. You know what I'm saying? In the duat, right? Ooh, because I've been there. See, the Egyptians, they so raw. They the depictions that they gave you is the exact, is basically what it is when you look at it. You just gotta, you know what I'm talking about, understand what's going on when you experiencing what you're experiencing. But it's the same thing as being here. Meaning, like, no, ain't nobody physical. It's more so like a dream, but it's more so controlled, like here. If you're talking about, you like a lucid dream. But you can do way. I can't really explain that like that, and that's how you know. But you can do way more there than you can. You know what I'm talking about, in the astral plane, than in what do you call that? And in the dreamland. It's more closer to the dreamland than it is the astral plane, because the astral plane is here. You know what I'm talking about? We just in the physical plane. We not in the physical plane. We in the spiritual plane. We think we here. So our spiritual vibration, or our spiritual awareness, right? The awareness that we have, then been placed here. You feel what I'm talking about? In the projection from our subconscious mind or whatever, then created this hologram. And we believe that everything is real, so we can touch it, you know, and all that. But it's just a repulse. You know what I'm talking about? None of that's really going on. So in the duat, people set up shop there. They set up shop like, I'm building me a house. That's what people know. You know what I'm talking about? Some people don't have enough light to. They tell you to become this. Become the Ankh. Become the Ankh so you can travel through the sun. You had enough light to make it there, because all you gotta do is know how. All you gotta do is know. The Egyptians say, "Go with Ra." So when they passed on and transcended, they was like, "I know to spiritually will myself," because they was doing this in the temples. You feel what I'm talking about? They do suspended consciousness and be in the duat already. They already knew how to do that stuff or whatever. Suspended consciousness be they inside their tombs. You feel what I'm talking about? And then they ain't eating. They remember how earlier preparing you for something. You not eating. You ain't drinking. You ain't doing nothing. But you didn't physically and mentally prepared your body to do this. You feel what I'm talking about? And then you sitting there for months or whatever. But you really not sitting there. You really in the astral plane doing something. learning, going deep within, so that when you physically transcend from here, right, you can make it back comfortably. And then they would take fruits and vegetables and all types of stuff with them or whatever, because you be like, you can't take nothing with you. They wasn't taking it with them. They was feeding off of it. They would be, okay, you wouldn't they would take out, take out certain things inside of your body or whatever and all that stuff. They'd take the brain out because the brain wasn't important. They would keep the heart because the heart is what's really important. And they would everything would be connected. And they will mummify you because the same God that everybody worship or whatever, the Egyptians understood that God too. They understood this deity, this energy or whatever that was responsible for this material thing or whatever, right? That, remember I told you, it's a part of our mind. It's a lesser version of our mind. You feel what I'm talking about? So that created this. When a person, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, does what they do or whatever, right? In movies, they tell you, hey man, go to the sky. Remember I told you, electromagnetic there. The Egyptians called that the web of Isis or whatever. And you will be at the quote unquote Vesica Pisces. Because remember I told you, you are the Christ. So that fish swimming up there or whatever, it get caught in that net. You feel what I'm talking about? And then what will happen? Ultimately, you'll be back here. But the thing is, we knew and understood how to will ourselves to a point in the sky where it was open, where the net wasn't there. You feel what I'm talking about? And then, hold on. And then get up out of here. But you watch this. When a person is placed inside of the ground or whatever and doing all that or whatever, when your body decays and does all that, the hydrogen, the oxygen, all that, it's released, and then it gets to travel. You know what I'm talking about? But once your body decays or whatever, that you know how they say, well, the Gnostics said that Yalzabrov was a jealous God, a blind God. You feel what I'm talking about? An ignorant God or whatever. Blind, not blind necessarily, but blind to saying like, I only see my creation, meaning the physical. You feel what I'm talking about? Didn't see the actual light that was inside of you, that was actually supreme over that actual entity. So you was able to just, sidestep that and get up out of there and be able to go ahead and do your thing, whatever, and go to that actual place for real. You know what I'm talking about? Instead of coming back here and being able and having to experience everything over and over again. All that, we used to live for long times and like thousands of years. That was true. But the thing is, in those times or whatever, we was reaching a height. You feel what I'm talking about? We was reaching a height. You feel me? We had devices that connected all realms. You feel what I'm talking about? That's reaching that height, getting there. You feel what I'm saying? All of what we experience and what we see out there, let's say the quote unquote the sky or whatever, as above so below. So if I see, let's say Sirius for instance or whatever, there is an actual land of the Sirius as well. It has to be a terrestrial if it's as above so below. You feel what I'm talking about? But if we understand the 178 maps or 178 land masses or whatever, we understand what's really going on for real. It's an actual mirror. But then you go back to, what's that called? Operation Fishbowl. Operation Fishbowl. What's that? They was shooting nuclear bombs, basically. They said they was shooting rockets up there. They was shooting nuclear bombs up there trying to break that thing. They ain't never been nowhere. Why would they be shooting? Just listen to this. Why would they be shooting nuclear bombs? Yeah. Why would they be shooting nuclear bombs at the firmament, right? If they already been outside of this thing. They already been outside of this thing on what do you call that? What's that word? On the moon? That what they say? Why would they be doing that? Because they never been nowhere for real. Or where is it for real? Where is it actually? You know what I'm saying? So it's really more to what's going on out here. But we being what we are, ancient beings or whatever, we already experienced all of that. But we have a more spiritual thing or more of a spiritual war that's going on. The elite, or what you call the elite, is not involved in that. They is not messing with us. They are literally sitting around, waiting around for us to get active. You feel what I'm talking about? But the real ones know when we do get active, they ain't gonna last but a millisecond. You feel what I'm talking about? I'm telling you. Because the whole entire earth and planet will be fighting as well. And they're gonna be what they show in the movies. Oh guys, let's go do this, let's go do that. No, they running and hiding. What they doing right now is scourging around, scaring around. They don't really know who is who. You know what I'm saying? They just know what you look like. You look like this, gun you down. Lock you up. Throw you away. Get rid of you. Shut you up. That's all they know. They don't understand it's all of us. I tell you one thing. During the COVID area, right? They told you to stay away. Stay inside and stay away. During that time, if I would have been around you, they tell you stay 6 feet away. If I would have been around you, just my aura, anything that I knew, anything that you knew, you could have got. I didn't even have to say it to you. Still don't, because we still going through that. They don't know, didn't know, still don't know what you're going to become, what you're becoming. A few years ago, during that time, around Christmas, people was like, hey, black people finna get superpowers. I don't know. Y'all finna get superpowers. All on Facebook, they were saying that. Why do you think they were saying that subconsciously? Because ain't nobody put that out there. Or did they? Now you see all these miraculous things that's going on. And you feel how you feel. They don't know, man. They don't know which one of us gonna come in and be the one that everybody love, basically. That's all they waiting on, for real, for real. It's gonna be somebody that be like, that come in probably, maybe. See, it ain't gonna be no Messiah. It's gonna be a regular person just like us, look just like us. Gonna come in and be like, say something that everybody like or whatever, you feel I'm talking about. And they gonna fuck around. They gonna get rid of my dude or the queen or whatever, you feel I'm talking about, and we just ain't gonna have it no more. I'm telling you. But it ain't gonna be no Messiah. By that time, everybody gonna already know for real who they is and what they is. They really, I'm gonna tell you why they really scared. Because their government is going down. That was to make people depressed because we're social people. No, look, right? Check this out. We are social people, but you separated the social people that can be social without being around one another. Not with the phones, not with none of that. You feel what I'm talking about? Not with the phones, not with none of that. Social people that's actually a people that can go inside of themselves and we in the astral planes with it. Because this is really where God it went up at. You really want us, you really wanted us outside. For real. You know what I'm talking about? But it was too much going on out there and they didn't want to show us neither. But it was much going on with inside of ourselves too. They really ain't know. The government don't really know as much as everybody give them, for real. They know enough to understand the seasons. So they give you like a day or whatever, but they understand that's a season and it's gonna happen or whatever. And all you do, the actual power, you and I, we understand or not understand. We be like, okay, that's the day, and we believe it's just gonna be the day and it's be over with or whatever. But it still be happening. You know what I'm talking about? It's magic. We gotta truly understand what's going on. These people scared. Keep trying to block it out. But guess what? The sun is getting hotter because we are becoming more conscious and aware of who we are. We actually bringing it closer to us. Those solar flares are actually coronal mass ejections. Look up a coronal mass ejection and look up the UNC. Look up coronal mass ejection and then UNC. You feel what I'm saying? That shit. Hold on. It's the same thing basically. It's the same thing. That shit happening. Let me see if I can find something to show y'all. That's what I'm doing. Hold on. Give me a second. Y'all see that right there? This. Don't this look like an Ankh? Don't this look like the top of an Ankh? The Ankh is supposed to be the symbol, I'm finna show you in a second. Hold on. This. They got us playing, Joe. They playing with our tops out here, Joe. It's metaphysical. It's way more metaphysical. The Ankh is an Egyptian symbol of life, the universe, and immortality. Important in magic, Ankh means both life and hand mirror. It is in the shape of a Tau or looped cross. Right? The Ankh is a symbol of regeneration, an amulet against bad luck, and a talisman for good fortune. And it also represents the alchemical union of the male principle, the staff, and the female principle, the closed loop. In ancient Egypt, the house of life was a building or a group of buildings that housed the temple library, right? The house of life. The repository of all magic lore available to the magicians, priests, and laymen. Egyptian art shows the Ankh being carried as a scepter in the right hand of the deities, and being applied to the nostrils of the beings and dead in order to bring them back to life. It says Ankh amulets were made of the I don't even know what none of that says. It's just different stones or whatever. The pharaoh, what is his name? The pharaoh Tut had a hand in the mirror in the shape of an Ankh. So basically, a little history on an Ankh. It's spelled with an A, like that. They told you to they tell you to become like that. Yeah. Y'all give me 1 second. I gotta use the bathroom real quick. I'm up here drinking water all day long. Yo. So basically, right? Cause we really done got all off topic, but I like this though, cause it's better than just, you know what I'm talking about, trying to be like school and shit. But yeah, you know, they told you to become that, and when you become the Ankh, it's regenerative. So it gives you that creative life spark, basically. You know what I'm talking about? And then, right, it's really a key So it's almost like understanding, because they say it's a symbol of a universe as well. So not just the universe, but multiple universes. It, you know, when they tell you it's like that, like, oh, the universe or whatever, you understand it's more universes. You know what I'm talking about? This is literally your key to every universe. You know what I'm talking about? Through the stargates. Stargates is these different star systems, different suns or whatever, you feel I'm talking about? All types of stuff, man. Like that, the whole show Stargate, if you ain't ever watched it, the movie, definitely check that out. It may look crazy, the graphics ain't there or whatever, but listen, the information is there. You know what I'm talking about? The information is always there, especially the first one. The first one, they hit it on the head. They got some entities in there called the Ori, right? Why is this like key? Because in ancient Yoruba mythology, the Ori, O-R-I, that's the same name that they said in the what do you call that? What is it called? I just said the Stargate. You feel what I'm talking about? The Ori, these creatures are supposed to be like a creature that don't have no body, or whatever. They said it was parasites, but they don't have no body, so we're just gonna say spiritual. You know what I'm talking about? But in ancient Yoruba mythology, the Ori is different like components, or it has different aspects of it, but it ultimately just means your consciousness or your soul. Right? Now, your consciousness or your soul that exists outside of this physical reality or whatever, and like I said, there's different aspects of it or whatever that you can utilize or whatever to tap back into that through this physical awareness that you're having or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Go inside of yourself with your physical awareness and it becomes spiritual or whatever. But if you utilize the different components with your Ori or whatever, you get to go back to different spiritual realms. You know what I'm talking about? To, like, let's just say, because it's going back with your quote unquote your soul and your highest form of spirit or whatever. So this is literally your origin, basically. You know what I'm talking about? Thank you for talking to me. I would like to finish our conversation, but I have to cook dinner for me. Cook that dinner. Peace, peace, peace. You feel what I'm saying? It's all good. Anytime. Appreciate the company. But the Ori, that's like your soul. And I love like how people be coming out here. They be talking about the Orishas and doing all that stuff or whatever. But I do not recommend people running towards the Orisha so fast. Orisha literally means the Ori. It means soul. The Sha, right? The Sha means selected consciousness or whatever. So the soul is selecting is different forms of consciousness. We're not supposed to be worshiping that or whatever. You feel what I'm talking about? We're supposed to be dealing with them in a different way. Yeah. Oh, most definitely. Handle your business. And I hope everything, you know what I'm talking about, goes the way it's supposed to go for you. You feel what I'm talking about? And when it does, I hope you're able to understand and embrace that. And, you know, take that how you're supposed to take it, basically. As far as utilize it the best way you can. And do not let it, you know what I'm talking about, take you over. Whatever it is, however the outcome is. I think people fail to realize as a spiritual individual that's seeking enlightenment, you are going to endure way more pain, heartache, trial, tribulation, defeat. You're going to feel all of that stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Sorrow and all. You're going to go through all of that before you reach the true purity of this all. You know what I'm saying? And it really goes back to the whole mythology of having to have the experience. Because it's like, who want to go through all of this? You know what I'm talking about? You're really putting yourself through a Holocaust, a self-induced Holocaust. You know what I'm talking about? And the self-induced Holocaust is a transformation for real. But the only one that can do this is the one that's equipped to, you know what I'm saying, to handle all of this. So that's literally saying that you literally came here for all of this. But you came here for this, meaning you came here and had to experience this. So the good, quote unquote, and the bad, I literally don't even like to get caught up on. It just is what it is. I want what works for me. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes that's good in the eyes of to society. Sometimes it's not. You know what I'm saying? That's what's important. I don't want what society says is gonna work for me, because 9 times out of 10 is not. Unless I can take that and take it within, place it in my heart, and reflect it outwardly. And if I can reflect it outwardly in a positive format, to where it's not harming myself or any other people, and I'm getting positive, like positive what do you call that, gratification out of it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm talking about? But that's personal to me. You know what I'm saying? But most of the time, society don't have it. Like, it's not set up like that. It's set up for you to be like, hey, you listen and you do this. You know what I'm saying? Go to work. Why is we sit up here talking about this? I gotta go to work. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta work there. Which, that's cool, and it's important to a certain extent, but it opens up for a whole new ideology. Now, as far as the work and all that stuff like the bills and all that stuff or whatever, the crazy thing about it is, if anybody ever found themselves in a situation like that, which I have, if you ever found yourself in a situation like that, I noticed something. It always works itself out. My hours, I usually try to go like twice a day, and most of the time I try to go like around like 5 o'clock Eastern time. But when I do, I usually stay on to like right now. So I got on at 5. Now I'm still on here. You know what I'm saying? It usually don't happen like this. If I get off early, I get back on again. You know what I'm saying? But I usually try to get on at like 5 o'clock. Now, but if I go any earlier, I just let you know. But yeah, what I was saying. Yeah, that shit just left a nigga. I don't know. Sometimes you be having that the thought be there with you, but now it's gone. I think it's important though. I think information like this is really important. It's really important for the self. You know what I'm talking about? Take all of the stuff in that you can, that works for you. It's 5. Dang, it's early out there. Yeah, it's early out there. No, but you gotta take what works with you. You know what I'm saying? Society not built like that. Society built, they be like, Joe, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. You know, and they gonna try to make you feel bad and all that stuff or whatever. But that's not that ain't important. You know what I'm talking about? Unless a person coming to you trying to hit you, none of that. You know what I'm saying? In any way, physical, spiritual, it ain't really important. And going back to what I was saying earlier, damn, it's different how it's set up, man. I want to say it in a different way, because I don't want to, I don't want to get nobody the wrong idea. Most definitely. I appreciate you. But yeah. So, I just feel like it's whatever you're interested in. You know? Whatever sparks your interest, you should look further into that. Look further into that and see how you can utilize that on a spiritual level. Create your own system. You know what I'm saying? Your system should be hidden. You know? We expect the big old system, the church and this, that, and the third or whatever, but on a spiritual path, it's gonna be lonely. I was saying that we chose this. That's what I was saying. We chose this life. The life is messed up, but we came here with it. So we just gotta accept whatever comes with it. You know what I'm talking about? We can't forget that though. Society gonna tell us that this is the reason and this is the cause. That's the cause or whatever. But regardless of how it played out, you gotta remember I chose this life. So regardless of what's happening, it's happening by way of me allowing it or me actually, you know what I'm saying, causing it in my life. So you understand, you can step back from this quote unquote reality and create your own reality. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, we got people doing a little NPC thing. We got people doing a little whatever the other little skits. There's so many skits on TikTok or whatever. Those are like different realities. And right now, wow, it depends on where you live at, but like you don't really see too many people outside that's doing that. But it's finna come to a time where it's normalized, and there's so many different things that's becoming to be normalized or whatever, that's allowing people to live in their own realities in their own universes or whatever, because that's the reality that we're living in, whatever. But society, the quote unquote elite, the government, whatever, they projecting a different format of that. What I'm saying is your universe is supposed to be more authentic. You know what I'm talking about? Meaning you ain't supposed to see 1,030 different people, you know what I'm saying, be doing the same thing on the internet. It ain't supposed to be that. You feel what I'm talking about? So this gotta be some of they doing type shit. You feel what I'm saying? So we gonna have to go inside of ourselves and figure out what's truly going on is what I'm getting at. Because the new world order that everybody is scared about is literally over with or ending right before our eyes, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? In the movies they depict that when the world ends, they gonna take it over. But no, Joe, it's literally in it right now. We living in it, and we already knew this. And that's why it's easier for a lot of us to come into this understanding. But you know, I'm finna wrap this up. I ain't even finna lie to you. So if anybody got like any more questions, just let me know. I'm putting this up on my YouTube at BabaWati, BabaWati. So if you want to check this out, check out the earlier what I was going. We was arguing earlier a little bit. So just, you know what I'm saying, watch that. I guess if you're trying to check out the earlier half of this. We've been in here for like 3 hours. Well, we about to end this. I'm tired. I'll probably go back live though, cause it's early. What time it is? It's 8:20. Yeah, I'll definitely go back live again. Damn near. These frequencies I be playing, they be getting me together. Alright, y'all, listen. Y'all be safe, Scud. I'ma holla at y'all. I'm gonna come back. We gonna turn up again.